Good evening and salutations, my YNR fans. Alright, so let's start off with Jack, Allie, and Phyllis. So, Allie, hmm, I don't know what to think of this character so far. But that's not true. She's kind of annoying. Like, first of all, she goes to try to bat for Diane, and I'm like, you don't really know her. You don't really know her past or her history. And she's all like, well, she could be a changed person, and, um, how else does she sit there and say? As far as trying to see Kyle and stuff like that, like, she's really desperate to sit there and see her son and you reunite with her son again. So don't you think that it's possible that she changed? And I'm like, yeah, it's possible, but again, you don't know this woman, and there's a reason. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why Jack and Phyllis are so apprehensive about about Diane. And granted, towards the end, she did actually take that into account, like, but it was just a simple fact that, first of all, she said that she sought um, Diana because she wanted to know more about the Abbots from a different perspective. And I'm like, well, if you want to know about the Abbots from a different perspective, why don't you just meet them yourself? Like you heard from Jack, and if you don't think that that's good enough, then why don't you just meet them yourselves? What was the point of Cynthia going to Diane after she lied to you? It just was like, what? Um, and then she asked a question which I felt was just inappropriate. She was like, "So I have a question. Are you two together?" And I'm like, "What? Wha- Listen, you barely know Jack, and you don't even know Phyllis." And when she was like there talking, she was like, "Well, I heard that you're friends and everything like that, but you came all the way over here and you dropped everything, and I just want to know what's going on." I'm like, why are you asking that question for? I feel like that was just such an inappropriate question to sit there and ask somebody who you don't even know. Like, so yeah, that happened. So Diane actually has Kyle's number, and towards the end of the episode, she does um want to book a ticket to Genoa City. Now Jack and Phyllis came to go and talk to her, and Jack wants to sit there and set her straight, like, yo, listen, stay away from Alex. Which is kind of stupid in that sense because Allie did actually track her down. And even she said to you, she was like, um, Allie's the one that called me. But anyway, Jack is just so angry. He's like, yo, listen, stay away from my family. I said that I would sit there and, get you an introduction without signing. And then after that, it's on you. But he made it very clear. He was like, yo, listen, I'm done with you. And he was just angry. He was angry. Phyllis was angry. They both left. And then she was just like, all right, well, I'm going to go to Genoa City. And even though Jack wants to sit there and spend some more time to try to hang out with Allie, she wasn't sure about his schedule. And Jack was like, yo, I got to get back to work and everything like that. Plus, he was like, I got to get back to Genoa City because there's a lot of people that don't like Diane that should probably get a heads up. Um, so it's going to be even more messier. But with that being said, that was actually the best part of this episode because, well, after that, it just it just goes downhill. So Tessa and Tessa and Mariah, um, gathered a family together: Nick, Noah, Faith, Sharon, and Ray. And they're like, all right, so we got a wedding date. They're gonna move it up, and they moved it up into like I think it was May. But it was like on a like Friday the 13th, and I'm like, what? But they all just kind of sat there and just looked at her like, what? And, they explain like, oh well, yeah, we know it's a superstitious thing, but you know, I forgot her stupid reasoning why. But it was something about defiance and some other stuff, and Faith was like, I just don't think that's a good idea. Now at this point, I look at this meeting and I'm just like, it just seems like they want a bunch of yes people. I don't understand what was the point of gathering them all around, saying that we want to have a wedding on Friday the 13th because this, that, and the third, and then when they sit there and look at them like, you want this on Friday the 13th? It's like they got defensive. And Noah's like, well, that's a good idea because of X, Y, and Z. And I think Mariah was like, yeah, well, thank you for being supportive. I was like, there's a fine line between being supportive and just being yes people. I mean, if that was the case, then you probably should just. I'm looking at the whole thing like, well, if you didn't really want their input into it, you should have just made the plans and just say, hey, meet us there at X and Y time and X and Y date, and that would have been that. But it's like they got defensive the minute that there was a bit of pushback. Like you wanna have a wedding on Friday the 13th, and you expect everyone to sit there and say, yeah, no, that's a great idea. Sure. Um, now there's one point where Nick starts telling some stories about back in the day with her and Sharon. Um, And I think there was like a little bit of a romantic part in there. I think somebody was like on or something like that, and you get to see the look on Ray's face. Like Ray looked like he was just like kind of feels like I'm not there. And this is what he was there talking to Chance about. So Chelsea walking past saw that, and I think they stop and they turn around, and Chelsea's like, oh, I didn't mean to sit there and kind of interrupt y'all. And, she was like, I'm just here to talk to Ray about, Connor or whatever. So Ray leaves because, they were all just, doing the wedding planning and stuff like that. And Ray's like, yeah, this is not exactly my whole thing. And Chelsea's like, well, good news is that my trip has been postponed and I can make, I can sit there and take Connor so you don't have to go. Um, but Ray sounds like he's kind of disappointed, like he really wanted to go. And, Chelsea was like, are you sure? And but she was into talking about how Connor really wants Ray to go, and Ray turns around and looks at everyone having a good time with Sharon and Nick or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I really want to go to that trip. I'm just like, now, okay, even though that was kind of funny, like I look at that whole thing and I'm like, girl, this has been an issue for you for a while. And I'm pretty sure if you talk to Sharon about it, just to sit there and talk about your concerns and, a bit of built up resentment because everyone was sitting there laughing and no one noticed the the obvious look of discomfort on Ray's face. Um, I'm like, bro, I'm pretty sure if you sit there and talk to Sharon, it seems like she's a reasonable person, at least from what I've seen. Um, they could probably get this whole thing patched up and it really won't be that much of an issue. But it's one of those things where it's like it's going to build up and it's going to fester. Um, and I don't know exactly how much, you know, how much of a change has Chelsea made as far as trying to turn her life around and kind of going straight and narrow. I mean, come on now, she's been sitting there having well sex dreams about him. So, and Ray seems like he's kind of in somewhat of a vulnerable position. So, like this whole thing could probably be avoided if he just talked to her. But of course, that's not going to happen. So I think we all know what's coming next. Okay, I think we all know what's coming next, and when it happens, We're gonna sit there and look back at this moment and be like, just would have sat down and talked to her. You could have avoided all the stuff that's 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 moving forward. I feel like that's about it. I really do. I feel like that's about it. Yeah, the whole Tess and Riot stuff just really didn't work for me. And I'm not gonna lie, even when I saw them in the previews and they were something they're talking about, they picked a date or whatever, it was like, oh boy, I can't wait to not enjoy this. Um, anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.